Alright, so this should be our final topic of the chapter, actually. We talked about absolute value inequalities with greater than signs, like this first type right here. This last video is going to focus on the second situation. So when we have absolute value inequalities with less than signs involved. And I want to draw your attention to the number 1 down here, so we can kind of think about what it's saying. This is saying that the absolute value of a number is less than 5. So if we take a number and we do the absolute value to it, our answer is going to be smaller than 5. We want to know what kind of numbers will work here. So numbers like 1, 2, and 3 would work, because when you take their absolute value, you get something that's smaller than 5. That's fine. Other numbers that would work, though, would be like a -1, or a -2, or a -3, -4, -4.8. Basically, the things that work are going to be stuck between -5 and +5. The numbers in between there are going to be our answers. So, between -5 and +5. Now that word between should look a little familiar to you guys. When we had things that were between, we wanted to express that in a problem, that was when we used our sandwich. So this could also be expressed like that. So on the last video, I had you guys write down more than or, as a little phrase to help you remember that. When you have less than, we're going to do a sandwich. So 2 random phrases to help you remember which is which. When you have more than, it's going to be an or problem. When you have a less than, it's a sandwich. So it's an and inequality. So, I want to also focus on an example with a negative number in it, like this one right here. And I want you guys to think your way through this one. We're taking the absolute value of a number, and our answer is less than -10. So you pick your favorite number, you plug it in, take its absolute value. We want to know what numbers it'll be less than -10. Absolute values are always positive. It doesn't make sense to have an absolute value that's less than a negative. So when you have an absolute value less than a negative, there's no solution. Okay? When it was greater, it was all real numbers, because everything's greater than a negative when you take an absolute value. No absolute value. There's no number out there that when you take its absolute value, you get something smaller than -10. So this problem is no solution. Or we can use our symbol, which I already wrote on there. And let's practice 2 problems. Kind of taking our 2 bars to inequalities approach to solve these. So, you can go ahead and try this one out for yourself if you like. That's probably something I bet you'd be successful with it based on how you're doing so far with everything. It's really the same sort of approach. Break it into 2 pieces here. We have 4x minus 5, keep it the same, so less than 19. And we also have 4x minus 5. We're going to make it a -19 over here, but that's going to make this a greater than sign. So you still flip the sign, you still do it like we already learned. We're going to go and solve each of these problems. You get 4x less than 24. So your first answer is going to be x less than 6. On the second guy here, let's see, that'd be a -14. We divide both sides by 4, we get x greater than, that'd be -3.5. I believe. Yeah, that's right. So we get -3.5. Now on the last problems with the greater than, we just put through an or there, called it a day, we were done. If this is a sandwich problem, remember first of all, less than sandwich, we have to write the word and right here. We have to do 1 extra step on these problems because remember, I don't like leaving answers like this. This is not a good way to have the answer. This is not how you would see it on a multiple choice test. It's just not good form to leave it here. So all I'm going to do is make a little sandwich out of it and finish my problem. I'm going to put my small number over here, x in the middle, 6, and I'm going to make sure the alligators eat what they're supposed to and see that it checks out and makes sense. So between these 2, the alligator has to eat x. Here, it has to eat 6. So we're good to go. That's our answer. Numbers between -3.5 and 6 will work. Final problem of our video. End of our chapter. Start out, subtract 2 on both sides. End up with this. And when we multiply both sides by -3, we are multiplying by a negative. We have to flip that sign around. So we get absolutely x minus 1 less than positive 6. And now we can go and do our 2 bars, 2 inequalities. Get x minus 1 is less than 6, x minus 1, flip that sign around, and you just solve both problems. So you get x less than 5, x less than 7 if you add plus 1 on both sides. Here you add 1 on both sides, you get x greater than negative 5. There's an and in between, so I have to do that one extra step and make a sandwich out of it. Small number, big number, x, and now I'm just going to fill in the pieces. He's got to eat x, he's got to eat 7, and I am done.